in a sense, what we're doing with beginner's mind and the science of happiness. And I'll explain that as we get into it. But I recently listened to a good mini talk on beginner's mind from Jack Kornfield. So I'm using some of his material for that. And it reminded me how important beginner's mind is to just our regular mindfulness practice. And the science of happiness is, or the science of well-being, I think is actually the title, is a course at Yale by Laurie Santos, a psychologist, a professor. And we're going to see part of the video that Andy Orifice, one of my good students who's been into a lot of the classes, sent me this video from the New Haven Chamber. They had her as a guest speaker, so I'm going to show some of that because it really applies very directly to some of the things that we've been doing. So let's go to this, and let me say welcome to everybody. It's good to have a nice turnout and to see everybody present here. And so in order to really get present, we'll do a quick pause, a mindful minute. And so just be comfortable in your seating position. Take a moment to adjust and be at ease and balanced, and bring your awareness into the body. You can close your eyes if you like, but you don't have to. And just simply feel the body in the chair. Notice your feet connecting you to the floor. Maybe be aware of the sensations in your face, and I'm going to ask you to bring a slight smile to your face. So even just kind of a half smile, just bring that to your face so that you can feel the sense of a smile at the lips, a little bit of an upturn perhaps, reaching up towards the eyes, feeling this sense of friendliness and warmth that a smile gives and actually sends to the nervous system. And continuing to breathe, and as you breathe in and out, just letting this sense of a smile spread to the rest of the body. So letting it spread down through the face into the neck and shoulders and the arms, down into the chest and the heart area. Feeling this spreading friendliness and warmth and ease down into the belly, lower torso, pelvic area, legs, all the way down to the feet, so that you can just feel this sense of a smile throughout the whole body. Just breathing easily, letting the body relax and soften and release. And feeling a smile at the lips. And when you're ready, you can open the eyes. And just a quick smiling body scan to start us off. So that actually does, I've read some of the research on that. When we do that and when we bring a smile, even if it's a fake smile, so it's kind of faking it till you make it, it actually does signal the nervous system to be relaxed and at ease, and you're kind of fooling the brain and the nervous system to sense a smile. So try that. So just open it up before we kind of move into the lesson on beginner's mind, and ask you how your practice is going. Hopefully you're finding some time. I know it's harder than ever these days to find time to sit and be quiet, and to maybe take even 3 to 5 minutes for a meditation, for example. You know, we do the phone meditations, and there's meditations on our EFR website. There's a recorded line as well you can call, and I'll send those out when I send the slides. Actually, I guess what I'll have to do, oh, you know what you can do? put in the chat feature that you're here if you want the slides, and I'll send you some slides and some supporting material. So just use this chat feature and just say here, and I'll see your name. I'll be able to send it to you. But how's it going? Just anybody, if you want to speak up or use the chat feature, are you finding some time for practice? Is it hard, or are you getting some good practice time in? Or how about informal practice? That time when we can just sort of tune into what we're doing and being aware of what we're doing while we're doing it. How's it going for you all? Anyone?
Well, I've been working, hi, it's Margaret. I've been working from home, which has given me the opportunity to get outside during the day, which I really enjoy. Even if it's a couple minutes, I take a little walk in my garden, look at the woods for a little while, and
There you go.
very helpful.
Yeah, I mean, I find even going out to the mailbox is helpful.
Yep, just to get fresh air and connect
Yeah.
with nature for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, a couple times I've taken a little stroll around the house, just, you know, 3 to 5 minute break. That's all he really needs. And sometimes I found that the 3 to 5 minutes turns more into 10 minutes. And I go, oh, well, I guess I better get back to work, but this is awfully nice.
Yep.
So thank you, Margaret. Great way to, you know, be in touch with nature and to get out there. How about others? How are you finding some time to practice your mindfulness?
I also try,
Go ahead.
I also try to find time to walk every day. I try to, at some point during the day, I go for a walk.
Good. Every day. Good for you.
Yeah.
Now, when you walk, are you walking mindfully?
Yes, most of the time I try to listen to birds.
Okay, good.
As you can see. But sometimes I listen to a podcast.
Okay.
I've never done that before, and I find there's a lot of really interesting material out there.
Yeah. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I mentioned Laurie Santos. She has a great podcast I've been listening to a lot lately.
What's that called?
I think it's called The Science of Wellbeing.
Okay.
Wait, let me look it up real quick, and I'll send it. Have it right in my podcast. Oh, it's called The Happiness Lab.
Great.
Very, very good. Another good one that I've been listening to is 10% Happier. Dan Harris has lots of great guests on there, so there's a couple to give a try too.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I asked you that question because remember, mindful walking is a great way to really bring yourself out of autopilot into the present moment. So when you're walking and you find yourself lost in thought and mind wandering and ruminating and worrying about what you got to do, you know, that's usually not such a good thing. And just bring yourself back by feeling the walk, feeling the touch and the lift and the placement of your feet, paying attention to the sounds of nature and the wind and the birds, and all that is great as well. So super way to anchor yourself. Bruce, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, so I walk every morning. I too, we had a screech owl that was around, not screech owl, barred owl. But with the dogs, so I have to kind of be mindful for that. But I find I have to schedule stuff, or else I get sucked into the computer hour after hour.
Yes.
And I read something in Men's Health magazine. They had a whole feature on 19 things besides mindfulness or meditation. And one of them was a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 sequence.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And so when your mind starts spinning, it said, think of 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste.
Yeah.
And by doing that, it really kind of brings your focus into the present and stops that spinning.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you, Bruce. I like that one. I just came across that one myself recently, so that is a good one to try. And done that one recently on a phone meditation. But you're right. You have to schedule a time. You have to be intentional about it. I send myself notifications on my phone, or of course, I have these classes that helps a lot, and even preparing for them. So I'm kind of lucky in that regard. But do what you can to remind yourself, maybe even a Post-it note or something that catches your attention to remind you to take a break. Here's a comment: difficult this time of year while trying to get Christmas shopping done. Exactly. I mean, not only are we dealing with the pandemic and work and the craziness that goes with both of those, but we have Christmas and Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah for those, if anyone is celebrating that. But walking in the stores, yeah, that counts. Walking anywhere, eating, all those regular routine activities, they're informal practice, but they really will support your practice. So, but I think it's also important to try to get the formal practice in. So we're going to do a couple of those today. So I want to introduce the idea of beginner's mind with this quote: mindfulness invites you to be more fully alive just where you are, to live with a beginner's mind. And that's from Jack Kornfield. And the piece that I was talking about, as I go to the next slide, love this quote too. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the expert's mind, there are few. So think about that. With beginner's mind, we see with fresh eyes.
I know, I'm on a call.
With interest and openness, we can see all the possibilities.
I've got a break between this one and the next one, so I'll call.
Mute everybody for now. And if you can't speak up, just unmute yourself. So the problem is that we all have a backlog of history and filters and interpretations in our minds. We've lived life for a few years. Think about a child. Think about a new baby. I'm blessed to have a new grandson. He's only 3 months old, and you can just see the mind and the sponge, and I can't wait till he gets a little bit older. But say, observing a child of maybe a year old or 2 years old, and how they look at things for the first time, and their minds are like a sponge. And they're really looking at things with a beginner's mind. And they find joy in those simple little things. So with beginner's mind, we're curious, we're interested without judgment, and this can really open the door to creative solutions. We can really do this at work as well. At work, we do bring our expertise, we bring our knowledge in all that we do, and we do a lot of things kind of routine-like. There are many things that we do. So even bringing a beginner's mind to those activities that we do, those tasks, but also to our interactions with people and how we view them. And, sometimes we see people in a certain way and we begin to think of them always in that way. Try to, in each new interaction, just look at them with a beginner's mind and see how that works. So let's do a practice with this, and you'll see how this works. This will be our first meditation. I'm going to try to get 2 in today. So just take a position that's comfortable, sitting with ease and alertness. You can close your eyes if you like, and you can also keep them slightly open with a downward, unfocused gaze, if that works for you. And just notice the state of your body and mind with kind attention. And fill your body with that half smile of kindness again, like we did in the beginning. Perhaps even bringing a half smile to your lips. Taking a few deep, relaxing breaths. Feeling each breath. Bringing a relaxed focus to the breath, inviting the mind to calm and the body to relax, and continuing this attention on the breath for a bit, and noticing whenever the mind wanders, and just gently bringing the attention back, like we're training a puppy. Just gently bringing the attention back without any judgment or frustration or harshness, back to the next breath. Now see if you can bring a beginner's mind to the sensation of breathing. And allow each breath to arise on its own so that you can sense each breath in its own time. Really getting in close to noticing the beginning of the in-breath, the pause, the beginning of the out-breath, and the pause again. And just with curiosity and interest, just paying attention to the unique sensations that you notice of breathing. Wherever you notice it. Perhaps noticing the tingling and sensation at the nostrils as the air comes in, and then a little warmer on the way out. Perhaps noticing the general sense of rising and falling with each breath in and out. Perhaps being aware of the subtle expansion in all directions with the in-breath, and subsiding in all directions with the out-breath. Maybe noticing the breath in a spot where you don't usually notice it, maybe in the back. You know, the lungs and the ribs are in the upper back as well, so you can sense the breath in the upper back, in the middle back, and even the lower back. Just resting with aliveness as you feel the mystery of each breath. Now bring this beginner's mind to sensations in the body, perhaps starting down with the feet and being aware of the contact the feet make with the floor, and really bringing your attention in close to examine this sense of connection and touch that the soles of your feet and the bottoms of your toes make with the ground, the heel, the balls of your feet. Just noticing any sensations as if for the first time in the feet. Maybe being aware of the touch of whatever you're wearing on your feet, on its skin. Now coming to your hands and sensing the feeling that you notice in the hands and the fingers, the fingertips, the palms, the thumbs. This sense of aliveness that you can feel in the hands. Noticing with beginner's mind, with openness and curiosity. Being aware of the body, the weight of the body, allowing the gravity and the weight of the body to connect you to the chair, and feeling that sense of touch and connection. And just opening up your awareness to whatever arises, and maybe even noticing thoughts or feelings or a body sensation or a sound. Whatever captures your attention, just keeping your awareness open now for a few moments. And with beginner's mind, whatever pulls your attention, just examining that or being aware of that with this close attention so that you really notice the texture of it, the feel of it. And now perhaps returning to the anchor of our breath, feeling this one breath, in and out, and then this breath. All with beginner's mind. Feeling everything that arises afresh. The mysterious appearance of life, moment by moment, breath by breath. And so when you're ready, we'll let go of this experience, this beginner's mind, and slowly and gradually opening the eyes to finish this meditation. All right, so thank you. What was that like? Any feedback or comments or reactions to that experience? Again, you can unmute yourself or use the chat. A little bit of a different way to think about things. You know, and you can keep the spirit of beginner's mind alive throughout the day. Maybe picking an activity or an interaction with another person to apply this beginner's mind to. So good, thank you. Refreshing, awesome, much needed for the end of the week. Yes. Yes, I forgot to say happy Friday to everybody. All right, well, so.
Bud,
Yes.
it's Janet. Can you hear me?
I can, Janet, thank you.
I had another joint replacement and did a kind of a dumb thing. I had a total knee and came back to work in 2 weeks. And I was home sitting at a desk for 8 hours. So I have been miserable for several weeks. And that was kind of the first time I wasn't ready to jump out the window.
Okay, good. Well, that sounds like that's a difficult experience to be with. And yeah, so you might, well, you might try continuing the practice. You know, there's a whole area, and I'll just mention quickly, there's a woman meditation instructor that I've listened to a bunch. Her name is Vidyamala Birch, B-U-R-C-H. And Vidyamala is V-I-D-Y-M-A-L-A. And check her website out. She's done a lot with pain and discomfort in her meditations. And I think you'll find her website helpful. So try that.
Thank you.
All right. So let's move on. I want to show you some of this video that I got. Hopefully it'll work, it'll come across. But this is from the course at Yale University by Laurie Santos, a professor. And she started this course, I think back in 2018. It's become the most popular course in Yale's history. And I think you can even take it as an outsider, not as a student. I believe there's a way to do that. You can kind of audit it for free, I believe, if you don't want credit for it. But in this video, she talks about these top insights, even during these times. And of course, we're not going to cover all of these, but I'll send you the link so that you can watch the whole thing. What I wanted to zero in on are that number 4, 5, and 6, that experiencing gratitude every day and kind of building in a positivity mindset. Because remember, we kind of have this negativity bias. And I think especially these days, it's so easy to have negativity and negative cues and triggers all around us that it's kind of easy to be stuck in that mode. But doing things that bring us gratitude and joy and making it part of our practice can really be helpful. And of course, our mindful practice, she talks about being in the present moment and savoring the good stuff, and also, really kind of letting that sink in to the brain, into the mind, is helpful. And then being in the present moment, even if it sucks. And there are plenty of things that, we don't like the way things are going, and they're very, very difficult for us to be with. So I'll let her talk about it a little bit, and then we'll do a final practice. So I'm going to stop this share and start a new share and bring the video up. And hopefully that works. No, that's not it. Uh-oh, don't want to leave the meeting. That would not be good. I had it queued up here a minute ago. Maybe this is it. Yes, so let's bring it over here. Okay, so I'm going to play this, and hopefully you can hear this okay. We're going to just watch a little bit in the beginning, and then I'm going to skip forward.
Right? This has been a really, really tough year. And that's why I think it's really important to kind of dig into what the science of happiness.
Can everybody hear that?
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
All right, great.
Says about how we can do better. And that's what I'm going to explore today. I'm going to really talk about what does the science say about how we can become happier in 2020. We're not going to necessarily change these circumstances. We're getting good news about vaccines and these kinds of things, right? Hopefully we can stop that stuff. But for now, what can we do even in the midst of this to improve our well-being? And that's what I'm going to dig into today. What I'm going to do is give you a very, very short version of the class that I teach at Yale, which is really quite fun. You're going to get the top 7 insights that I think the science of happiness gives us for how we can feel happier during challenging times.
So I'm going to pause there and move forward, and I will send you this link so you can watch the whole thing. And we're going to go to insight number 4, experiencing gratitude. That's the end of number 3.
Good. You can copy that. That gets us to top insight number 4, another thing that feels counterintuitive right now, but is really important, which is that if we want to engage with post-traumatic growth, we need to find some ways to experience gratitude now, not griping. Now, griping seems to be a thing that we are doing a lot of in 2020, right? If 2020 had like a Yelp rating, it would be very bad, right? And that means that a lot of us are engaging in a lot more complaining than usual, right? We're griping about the circumstances, we're frustrated, I get it. But the research suggests that that's just simply not what happy people do. Happy people, even when experiencing hassles, don't focus on those hassles. Happy people focus on the blessings. They focus on the kinds of things they're grateful for. And you might say, that's kind of hard to focus on what I'm grateful for because there's not that much out there. My guess though is that there is, if you can kind of train your attention right. Even in your businesses with all the challenges they face, there are some bright sides there. And you need to look out for them. And one way to train your brain to look out for them is to literally write down 3 to 5 things you're grateful for at the end of the day. This is what a lot of folks call a gratitude list or a gratitude journal. And there's evidence that this can be a powerful way to bump up your well-being. Research shows that this act of writing down 3 to 5 things you're grateful for can statistically improve your well-being. in as little as 2 weeks. So a powerful tool for bumping up our well-being. But an even more powerful tool for bumping up our well-being and for improving performance in our organizations is to express gratitude to other people. Why? Well, expressing gratitude means you have to make a social connection. So you literally got to talk to somebody. But in addition, it means that you're really kind of conveying something nice to someone else and you're experiencing gratitude. So the research suggests that the act of this should be really powerful. And research shows that it is. In fact, one study by Grant and GINO looked at the way that expressing gratitude to your employees can really boost not only their well-being, but also their performance. They did this in a pretty thankless organization. They looked at university fundraisers. I can say, being at Yale, we need the money, but it's not fun for the people who have to call folks and demand donations and things like that. So they brought these fundraisers in, and half of them got to hear some gratitude from their superior. Their boss came in and said, look, we're really grateful for your hard work. We sincerely appreciate your contributions to the university. Here's what you've allowed us to do. And really sincerely expressed why he was thankful in this case. And so then the question is, how did that affect these folks' performance? And what the researchers found is that fundraisers who heard the gratitude increased the number of calls they made by 50%. Imagine boosting your employees' performance by 50%. You might think, oh my gosh, we have to pay them so much more, I got all these bonuses and so on. Gratitude, it turns out, might be enough. But gratitude doesn't just help the people who are hearing it. Gratitude can also help you, the person who's expressing it. And that's why it's so powerful. One study actually looked at this power of expressing gratitude to the people you care about. This is some work by Marty Seligman and colleagues. And he brings his subjects into the lab and he has them do this exercise. He says, in the next week, I want you to write a letter of gratitude to someone who's helped you or been especially kind to you, but has never been properly thanked. And then deliver that letter in person to the person in question. What do people predict? People predict this might feel awkward. Turns out it doesn't feel awkward at all. If you receive this gratitude visit, it's one of the best moments of your life, you often report. It's like a 10 out of 10 on a happiness scale for the person who receives it. What's more amazing is what happens to you, the person who's doing this gratitude visit. And that's the graph I'm going to show you now. I'm plotting a sort of standard measure of happiness right here. And the white bars are when you do the gratitude visit versus the black bars when you kind of are just listing some happy memories. You're kind of just doing that as a control. And this is what we see before the event. No difference between the gratitude visit and the control. Right after, the immediate thing that you find is you see a big bump up in people's happiness. But what's amazing is that they looked at that bump up in happiness and how long it lasted. And in their study, what they find is that people show a significant increase in well-being that lasts for between 1 to 3 months. Now, if I was to tell you that there's some activity that you could engage in tonight that would take you probably a half hour, and it would bump up your happiness, through Thanksgiving, through the winter holidays, past Christmas and Hanukkah, and well into 2021, you would say, sign me up. That is the power of expressing gratitude to others. We don't realize how powerful it can be for bumping up our well-being. And this is where you all get some homework. You can't invite the Yale professor and not get homework. Your homework is to really do this. Some of you thought about a person who you really needed to thank, but you haven't. Really write that thank you letter. And extra credit if it's someone in your organization, because then you can get that big well-being boost for your business too. So that's top insight number 4. We need to be making time for gratitude. Top insight number 5 is also pretty tricky, which is that if we want to be like happy people, if we want that post-traumatic growth, we need to be in the present moment and savor all the good stuff. And, again, if you're writing a gratitude journal, you can see there's good stuff out there. The taste of a good mug of coffee, right? The smile of your spouse, right? There's stuff that you can savor if you're only present for it. Problem is that we tend not to be present very much. We tend to spend a lot of our time doing this. I think especially as business leaders, you tend to spend a lot of your time mind wandering, thinking about the next quarter, or thinking about what you need to do, or thinking about your employees, thinking about what you're going to make for lunch, right? All these things that are not in the present moment. Researchers estimate that when you ask people how often they spend mind wandering, they usually say if they spend about 50% of the time doing so. And the time that we spend mind wandering is less happy than the time that we spend present, no matter what's going on in the present moment. So to be happier, we need to stop the mind wandering. But how do we do that? Well, science gives us 2 strategies. One is the simple act of savoring. It works really well if you're engaged in something really enjoyable, like eating an ice cream or something, right? But what would you do when you're paying attention to this kind of event? How can you be present? Just think to yourself, what does this taste like? What does this feel like? How would I describe this event to somebody else? When you're experiencing something good, be there and be present. But a different way to be present is to engage in a practice of presence. And this shows the power of a technique that I'm sure you've all heard about, which is the technique of meditation. The simple act of focusing on your breath or focusing on a mantra. How does this work? Well, you're kind of training your brain to pay attention to something. And that means you're limiting the mind wandering that your brain engages in. And the research suggests it can have a powerful effect. In fact, researcher Hetty Koper, who's also a professor at Yale, shows that even for novice meditators, the simple act of kind of focusing on your breath for like 10 to 20 minutes a day can improve not only your well-being, but can also improve the extent to which you're limiting your mind wandering. It actually decreases activation in regions of your brain that tend to mind wander. And so that's top insight number 5. If we want to be like happy people, we got to get back to the present moment. And that comes with a sort of...
So I'm going to stop there in the interest of time. And as I say, you'll be able to, the next one is actually quite good too. Number 6 is be in the present moment, even if it sucks. And she gives one of the strategies. What I was pleasantly surprised about is she talks about the exercise of RAIN. And if you remember, we've done that in class. RAIN stands for recognize. And then the A is allow that, you're recognizing what you're noticing in the moment, allowing that to be. The I is to investigate what you're noticing inside yourself, investigate your own reaction to that situation with friendliness, with kindness. And then the N is nurturing, or sometimes it's called non-identification. But I'll send this also. There'll be a link to the RAIN exercise, and you'll be able to watch the rest of this as well. But I did want to get one more meditation in the last 5 minutes of the class. I might run a minute or two over. I hope that's not a problem for folks. But let's do this last meditation, and then we'll wrap up. So just sit comfortably again, sensing your body, starting with your torso. Sensing the back and the front of the torso, the left and the right side, the top and the bottom. And then expanding out, being aware of your body as a whole. Feeling the breath flow in and out of the torso. Sensing an expansion on the in-breath and subsiding on the out-breath. And noticing just wherever you feel it, the chest, the belly, the upper back. Letting your awareness pour down into your legs and feet, to the shoulder, the arms and the hands, neck, face, and head. And just establishing a stability of presence in the body. And I'd like you to sense a feeling of compassion for someone. In other words, bring to mind the act of caring for someone. What this feels like for you. Caring for a loved one, perhaps a family member, a friend, or even a pet. Maybe someone at work. Maybe you're a caregiver in some capacity. Just imagine and be aware of what this feels like in the body, in your mind, in your heart. Focusing on your good wishes for them. And this may make you aware of people who are vulnerable at this time. And so focusing on our kindness and compassion and just resting in your own good-heartedness. Continuing to breathe, being aware of this sense of care and compassion that we have for others and what this feels like, the satisfaction it can bring us. And whenever it feels right, shifting the focus to receiving care and compassion. And whatever might feel comforting or supportive or hopeful or beneficial at this time, receiving that message of care and compassion into yourself, breathing it right into your heart area, allowing yourself to receive this care and kindness and compassion. And notice how this feels. Are you accepting this? Can you be open and receptive to receiving compassion and care? Continuing to breathe easily, breathe deeply if that helps. Just welcoming whatever is present right now. And then we'll also letting in whatever you might be thankful for. And just taking a moment to bring to mind something that you're grateful for, something, somebody, some situation that you can be happy about and that you're thankful for. Focusing on what we have. And just resting and savoring this sense of care and gratitude for a moment. And before we close, taking a final minute to allow whatever has been helpful here in this time as we sit in meditation to sink in. That which we have established, calm and strength and acceptance and gratitude. And thank you. Thank you for being here with me during this meditation. And when you're ready, opening the eyes and coming back into this Zoom arena here. Finishing that meditation. So I know we're at the end. In fact, we're about a minute over, but I just wanted to show you this. I'll send these out. And if you haven't and you want the slides, just let me know. I'll also send the link so you can watch that whole video. It's only a half an hour, and you can see the other insights. But there's a couple of things here that relate to that. There's the rain practice. There's some simple relaxation techniques to consider. And then remember the formal practices, the informal practices. I'll have a link to our meditations. These links here go to our EFR website. And so with that, I want to say thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate you being here, giving me your mindful presence. I hope you have a wonderful Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, Festivus, whatever it is. And I know we'll do this again next month, but of course then it'll be 2021. And so Happy New Year's celebration. Let's hope for a better year next year. Thank you all very much. I really appreciate you as being with me.
Thanks,
Bud.
All right.
Take care.
All righty. Thank you all.
Thanks, bud. Happy holiday.
Yes, thanks.